Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Family's horse goes missing for 10 years. Then they spot a suspicious ad on Craigslist. The bond between a horse and its owner is a special one. Just like dogs, horses can develop deep feelings of attachment for the people who are responsible for feeding, brushing, and generally taking care of them. That's one of the many reasons Texas area woman Michelle Poole was devastated when she awoke to find her beloved steed, Opie, missing. Nearly a decade passed before she found any hints as to the fate of her beloved horse. Michelle Poole remembers the horrible day like it was yesterday. It was early in the morning, and she'd just gotten back from surgery when she saw the first sign something was wrong, the clipped fence. However, the damaged property wasn't Michelle's concern. Rather, it was what wasn't around that caused her to go into a panic. Her faithful horse, Opie, was missing, vanished without a trace. Michelle first brought Opie home when he was only 10 months old. He meant the world to her. "My old horse lived and died on my property at 30 years old," she explained. "I keep them for life. They're mine. They're my four-legged children." Panicked, Michelle contacted the police before rushing across the street to her neighbor's house. He was a deputy at the local sheriff's office, and he had some highly suspicious information to report. He said he'd seen a horse trailer the night before, but he had no idea that he was witnessing a crime. He merely thought it was Michelle coming to pick Opie up from her father's house. In response, Michelle drew up a plan. She posted flyers all the way down the nearby Interstate 10. Even going door to door to ask everyone who lived in the area if they'd seen her pet. No one had, and this raised a red flag in Michelle's mind for one reason in particular. Opie, a saddlebred pinto, had very distinctive tan and white markings. It simply didn't add up that nobody noticed such a unique horse. Michelle's fears grew, and her mind went to the worst place. "There was no sign of him. I was heartbroken," she said. "I had to explain to my kids that there are people who take things that don't belong to them. They were scared one of the other horses was going to get taken. I said, we'll find him. We won't stop looking." Years passed, and although she had filed a report with the online organization Stolen Horse International, she waited and waited without ever hearing anything about her beloved animal. Still, she refused to give up hope. A decade went by. In the interim, Michelle went through a divorce and moved from Texas to Arkansas. She didn't know that miles away in Dayton, Texas, something nefarious was going on. Another woman named Della Braid had just posted a Craigslist ad. She was trying to sell a horse, Opie, states away in Arkansas. Michelle was none the wiser. Deanna Bordelin, wanting to purchase a horse for her 13-year-old daughter, Savannah, shown here, responded to the listing. She saw the picture of Opie, now renamed War Bonnet, on Craigslist, and he seemed perfect. She went to the ranch to meet him. However, Deanna was wary. She'd been scammed by horse dealers who tricked her into buying poorly trained animals. She inquired about Opie's past and was met with a bewildering explanation. Della told Deanna that she'd been given War Bonnet as a gift from a pastor 8 years ago. According to Della, the animal had a history of abuse. Story made sense, but Deanna wondered where the pastor acquired Opie. Allegedly, the pastor received the horse from a different pastor, one who'd claimed that he'd simply found the animal wandering alone down the I-10 interstate. Things weren't adding up for Deanna, so she did some digging of her own. When she got home, she Googled War Bonnet's story. Surely a horse found wandering on the interstate would be newsworthy. But while searching, she stumbled across Opie's images on the stolen horse's website. The strange story was far from over. Shocked, Deanna called a number listed on the site to report the crime. Debbie Metcalf, the manager of the organization, hired an investigator to track down Michelle. Soon, Debbie was in contact with Opie's original owner. Michelle didn't believe Debbie's story. It simply wasn't possible that they'd found the animal she'd lost all those years ago. Debbie replied confidently, "No, we really did," continuing, "I am 150% sure." By 2 a.m. the next morning, a team of contract cowboys arrived at Della's house to take Opie home. She had no idea he'd been wrongfully taken. Michelle still had one more lurking fear. What if Opie didn't remember her? A heartwarming video captured their beautiful reunion. Michelle embraced Opie, and the animal rested his head in her arms, happy to finally be home. She'd given up that her horse would return, After all, there are still places in the United States where horses don't just live in the wild, they thrive. Just look at Assateague Island, an underdeveloped piece of land just off the coast of Maryland and Virginia. Here lives a whole herd of strange wild creatures, built like horses but sized like ponies. Their breed has been there since colonial days. Please share this with your friends.